Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Eric Johnson. Today we're going to talk about the best resources for Asperger's and addictions. They basically can go hand in hand. I know this personally because I've suffered with addictions since a very young age, and I'll get to that in a minute. And I self-diagnosed just last year of having Asperger's, which really made a lot of sense in my life. It was the last piece of the puzzle, and it made me realize exactly what happened and how it's not my fault of what happened to me. And it's definitely an interesting story. So let's dive into my story a little, but then we'll go into the best resources for Asperger's and addictions. I'll show you the best websites where you can get help for both of those. So I started rocking back and forth actually when I was 2 years old, but then I started rocking more when I was 8 years old, watching TV with my parents. It soothed me. It gave me relief. My dad was strict, so it just gave me a way out, so I didn't have to feel scared. I was a highly sensitive person, and I just needed to create my own space in that household, so I started to rock back and forth. When I was 12 years old, I discovered hard rock music, and I was blown away by the power and the energy of the music. It added nicely to my rocking back and forth. I could escape more into a fantasy world, and where I could get the bullies back in school by my dark imagination. My grades suffered, which enraged my dad. My sister, who was 4 years older, was a grade A student. I just wanted to play music. So basically, I dropped out of high school and started to sleep on friends' floors, and I started to drink more and experiment with heavy drugs. From 18 to 20, I bought a Volkswagen van and lived in that, and would park in between houses in the small town I grew up in, so people couldn't detect which house I was visiting. So now I'm drinking coffee, I'm drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, listening to metal, and rocking. It was a perfect concoction to escape reality and numb out. Alcohol basically took away my dreams of becoming a rock and roll drummer. So basically I started to become a dishwasher in restaurants, and I worked my way up to becoming a cook. And so I was a short order cook for like 16 to 20 years, not doing much with my life, drinking every single night, getting blacked out. And it got to the point where I had a heart attack at the age of 32 from drinking so heavy. When I was 35, I had a caregiving job. I was able to drink at work. I also started to not eat food because it was ruining my alcohol buzz. So it got to the point where I was starving. My mind was basically shutting down because I wasn't getting nutrients, I wasn't eating. By now, I'm rocking 10 to 14 hours a day, and I'm drinking the entire time. Friends warned me that I'm going to die within a year. Music and alcohol were my only friends. By the time I was 36, I finally stopped alcohol after hundreds of relapses. So I'm very thankful to be here. That's why I'm doing this channel, to help others with their addiction, also to help people that have Asperger's. So I'm going to get into the resources really quick. Asperger's and addiction resources. Okay, I've used these techniques and tools personally, and this could literally save your life. So stay till the very end, and we'll go through this together. The first segment is called For Addiction Recovery. Before we get started, realize that withdrawal from certain drugs and alcohol can be life-threatening in of itself, depending on how much you use. So seek medical supervision if you feel you need assistance in withdrawing from drugs or alcohol. So there's a great website called Rehab Spot. So if you click on that link, it goes to Rehab Spot, the benefits of medically supervised detox. Okay, down here they have a link to inpatient and outpatient rehabs. You can also look based on what drug of choice you use: benzodiazepines, opioids, drugs, different treatment centers. So that's a great resource to check out. if you're having a serious emergency and you're just really losing it right now, just call 911 immediately. That's all you need to do if you feel like your life is about to end, or you want to take your own life or anything like that. Just call 911. It'll be the best move you've ever done. You're here for a reason. You're watching this for a reason, or you're reading it for a reason. So one of the greatest places to start your recovery are 12-step programs. There is a 12-step program for everything from overeating to falling in love addiction. What I like about 12-step programs is that they are self-paced and based on concrete principles that are truly life transformative. Okay, so here's a couple steps to really get you going to utilize a 12-step program to its fullest potential. Do 90 meetings in 90 days. Okay, you might have already heard that if you've gone to 12-step programs, but you definitely want to do a blitzkrieg against your addiction or your alcoholism by just completely diving into the meetings and getting around sober people and finding a sponsor. That's number 2. Get a sponsor, ideally someone that you've listened to in the meeting, and they might have some hobbies that are similar to yours, or the age group is, they're closer to your age. You can kind of shop for the right sponsor, but don't be too picky, okay? Because you're in those rooms to save your life. So, find a sponsor as soon as possible. Don't do your addiction between meetings. So don't go out and use after a meeting. Don't get back into your addiction. Don't go to places that trigger your addiction or remind you of your drinking. Stay away from old friends. Cut all of those things off. You got to get away from old friends or places or anything that reminds you of your drinking. They call those triggers. So you have to completely eliminate all of your triggers. Get the book for that particular 12-step. So there's a great AA book. It's called The Big Book. Pick that up if you're in AA. NA has one. They all have a book. So you want to get that as soon as possible and read the stories and the testimonials. They're very inspiring. They're usually at the end of the book. So definitely get your book. Volunteer at the meetings. I used to love washing dishes at meetings. I felt like I was part of something. Even though it was washing dishes, I felt connected. And I like to work anyways, so it was a really good thing for me. Here's some links to find local 12-step programs. There's AA, Narcotics Anonymous, Overeating Anonymous, Sex and Love Addiction. And these all go to their websites where you can find a meeting in your area. So definitely check out those. Addiction is usually merely a band-aid for something that is going on that's deeper inside you. You could be covering up a trauma, low self-esteem issues, mental illness, or many other ailments by your addiction. Some people have a dual diagnosis, which means that not only do you have addiction issues, but you also may have like a borderline personality disorder, or you've had some trauma in your life. And so here's some really good online therapies. I would look into CBT therapy. It's called cognitive behavioral therapy, and it will change the way that you think about your life, your problems. It'll change your coping mechanisms. There's BetterHelp, which is you can basically find the right online therapist by filling out this quick little web questionnaire right here. There's also Talkspace, and this is a nice website, online therapy with a licensed therapist. And there's also Good Therapy. These are the top 3 online therapy sites, so definitely check out these. So for Asperger's, the most liberating thing I've done is self-diagnose for Asperger's. It placed the last piece of the puzzle of my life back in place and was a tremendous relief. So there's 2 tests that you can take right now to figure out if you truly have Asperger's or if you lack empathy, which is kind of like a subset of autism. So there's the autism spectrum quotient, okay? And you can go ahead and go through this and fill out the questionnaire. It's only 50 questions, and hit score my answers when you're done. I scored, I think, a 40 on this, which means I am on the lower spectrum of having autism. The other test is the empathy spectrum quotient. I scored very low on that, meaning that I really don't have a lot of empathy, which is part of my Asperger's and my fight or flight reflex from being abused growing up and becoming an alcoholic. Here's my Asperger tips on YouTube. If you're watching this video, you're already on that channel. Natural supplements for anxiety and addiction. I really love CBD oil. I've been taking the 1500 milligram full spectrum CBD oil for the last 4 years. It really helped my social anxiety. There's also kava and GABA. These are supplements that are natural. If you're drinking a lot of coffee, you can reduce your anxiety by switching to yerba mate. It's a tea from South America. You can switch from sugar to stevia. You can find that at any grocery store. It tastes just like sugar after you get used to it, which could take 5 days or something like that. Keto diet, get away, cut out the carbs, because carbs can cause a lot of excess nervous energy. And I love the keto diet. It just sheds off the pounds really fast and you get back to your lean and mean self. There's also the paleo diet and the Mediterranean diet. And then you can look into shakes. Other treatments for addiction, I love the sauna. Okay, not only can you shed weight, but you can also detoxify, and it greatly reduces your anxiety, and it's a great post-workout treat. Walking and running, you can get a jogger's high from running. Ayahuasca retreats, this is my fiance and I at the Neo Rao retreat. In 2016, we did a week of ayahuasca, and it just really changes my perspective on life and gave me a sense of why I'm here. And it kind of healed a lot of the trauma I had with my dad. And I made amends with my dad and just loved him even more after that retreat. So definitely check that out. Ibogaine retreats. Ibogaine is known to help people overcome opiates. So if you're using heroin or any other type of opiate, check out Ibogaine retreats. There's other health retreats out there. There's fruit retreats where you just fast. And then there's sauna retreats, there's massage retreats, yoga retreats, you name it. So that's it. That's basically all the resources I have. I keep it simple. I don't want to complicate it for you guys. And you're here for a reason. And I didn't know why I was here until I put all the pieces in place. Discovered I had Asperger's, but discovered I had low self-esteem and low self-worth issues from my childhood, and I started working on all of those things, and it's just truly a wonderful life. And you can get back to that old self that loved life, and you had hobbies and passions and dreams, and you're never too old to get those things back. So thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to you soon.